Hey, welcome back to Acoustic Guitar Mastery. This week is going to be all about shaping melody inside of your fingerstyle playing, which is a huge asset to have whenever you're playing. It really helps you with your melodic phrasing as well as your improvising. So we're going to talk about that today within the context of a couple different songs. And we're going to be using what I would call light to medium music theory as well as guitar technique. So that's why we included two courses within the Acoustic Guitar Mastery package, and those are the Music for the Music Industry course and the Cage System lessons within the technique bundle that you got. So this is the time to go ahead and go watch those videos, because those videos are going to be super crucial to what we're talking about today. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to take three different chords and we're going to talk about how you can improvise within each of those chords. Now that might not sound like a lot, but it is a really crucial drill that we're going to go over right now that is going to be very important in your guitar playing. So if you remember now how to play the Cage System scales, if you haven't gone through that workshop, then you might want to pause this video and go through those lessons right now. But quick recap before we move on. The Cage System is just breaking up the neck into different boxes depending on what chord you're playing and what key you're in. You could be playing a different scale shape depending on the point of the neck that you're on. So I always like to start with C. Let's start with C. And if I'm playing this C chord, I can play a C major scale around that chord. So my C major chord fits around that C major scale, and that's how the Cage System kind of works, is that it's these scales that resemble the chord shapes that they fit around. If I want to move that scale up the neck, I can also move the chord up the neck to the A shape chord and play the C major scale there. If I want to move it further up the neck, I can move it to the D shape chord. Sorry, the G shape chord. And play the C major scale within that chord shape. Even further up the neck, I can go to the E shape. And then one more position, the D shape. Now, if that's confusing, that doesn't click with you right away, again, pause the video and go watch those technique courses inside of the technique package. They're called Cage Positions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So moving now back to shaping melody inside of fingerstyle playing, the basis of that is going to be to know your major scale around the chord that you're playing. So you can see how the Cage System is going to come in really handy, because what I just did was I played the major scale inside of a C chord, the major scale inside of an A chord, the major scale inside of a G chord. It's hard to bar, right? But it's right there. The major scale inside of an E chord, and the major scale inside of a D chord is what I just did. So a simple drill then is going to be, this is your first piece of homework, is to play a C chord. So grab your guitar, play a C chord right now, and try and play that C major scale within that chord while holding down the chord. It's a little tricky. Some fingers you're going to have to pick up and put back down, but we're going to try right now. So starting on this low note, we're going to go, I'm going to use a pick just to get a little louder. Almost like I'm holding down the pedal, sustain pedal of a piano, right? So, if I want to, then I can now start shaping a melody within that chord while holding down other notes of the chord to kind of ring out and give an accompaniment, if you will. So try that. Starting at the top, we're going to go down 5 notes and then come back up. real rhyme or reason of what finger to use when you're fingerstyle playing, especially when you're shaping melody. It's kind of whatever you feel natural. I default to thumb and middle finger. Kind of like that. So and then I'm going to start again, and I'm going to take the scale all the way back down to the root note. So starting at the top. Right? Okay, there's drill number 1. Pause the video, work on that, and then come back. Now we're going to try in the key of G. And we're going to do the same exact thing, but with the G major scale. So starting with the G note, we're going to hold down as many notes as we can while playing the G major scale. It gets a little tricky when you get down to that lower string. You got to move your fingers out of the way, not like I did. But once you get that down, then you can start doing half scales, and you can start to hear where the melodies can start to come in. So let's try starting with the 5th of the chord, right there, the D note, and we're going to go down a few notes of the scale and then back up. Like that. So just give it a nice strum with your thumb and a pluck with your middle finger. Just like that. Let's go now to the D chord. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to start with, here's our root notes. It's important to find your root notes first, so that in the D chord, you have a low D here and a high D there. So let's start to play the D major scale. Harder to hold down the chord while you're playing the scale. And then you can start to improvise around that scale. Let's try and take it down even lower. You can see how melodies can start coming to you. If we were to go to the A chord, which would be, say we're in the key of D, so that would be the 5. That's when knowing the A scale would come into play, right? So if I want to just improvise, I'm brand new to improvising, I want to improvise with the major scale and fingerstyle, the first thing I would do is just pluck a chord and play this scale. Sounds a little boring at first, but you can see how this melody will then come to you once you know what notes to sort of fit in to the different chords. Sounds a little bland, a little gross, a little, I don't know, 1991 or something like that, but that's the basic principle of shaping melody within fingerstyle playing. You have to do it using the major scale. If you don't have a firm grasp on what the major scale is, then you're going to get held back in your fingerstyle playing. So ultimately, that would be the first step, is to go take that music theory course that is included in this package, and then secondly, to watch those cage system technique videos that are inside the technique package. So you can learn both of those two things, what a major scale is, and then how to put it onto a guitar. Now, let's try to put this into some practical action with actually shaping some really cool melodies over the top of fingerstyle playing. So what we're going to do is start on a classic song, the first Noel. I like to use Christmas songs because everybody knows them and they have really strong melodies. So whether or not it's Christmas time at home, your wife or your girlfriend or whoever it might be listening to you would be saying, why are you playing Christmas songs? But here we go. We're going to start with the G chord. Now this song, the melody, the first Noel, the of the first Noel starts on the third above the root note G. Just try doing that. So I'm just shaping the melody that I know so well by playing it on the with the major scale of the G chord, and then when I switch to C, I switch to that C major chord or the C major scale. But you can kind of toss out the scale, thinking about a scale right now, and just think of the melody of the song. Hopefully you know the first Noel. So what am I doing in between the melodies? Anytime the melody holds out a note, like right there, I have some space to fill in the gap with my other strings, basically. So it's all improv. It's I play the melody and then I improvise around the chord without interrupting that held out long note. Whatever I want, I can play if I want. Whatever I want to do, I can pluck around and give the song some rhythm using my middle third or middle thumb or ring finger, and give the song some rhythm around the melody without messing up the held out note. See, when I hit that note, I can just leave that note ringing. And I do this with slow practice until it becomes feeling more natural. And you kind of have to learn how to time your accompaniment with the length of the melody that's being played. And for me, I can do it naturally. I don't actually have to think about it in like exact ones and zeros. But for you, maybe you're not sure how to do it. So what I'm really doing is showing you, hey, you can take any song, sort of teach yourself how to shape the melody of that song by just filling in the gaps in between those held out notes. Let's move on to a different song, but again, you can do this with any song that you want to do. Let's do Hey Jude, a classic Beatles song. We're going to play it in the key of D. So let's go with the melody. Right? Let's first learn the melody. Actually, let's first play the major scale. Okay, cool. I have my home bass. Those are the notes that I have to choose from. Here's the major, the first note of the melody. You can see the shape that I'm using is still within that major scale. That's all we're going to do right now. So the first step, if you're just brand new to this, the first step would just be to learn the melody of the song by picking it out and making making sure to stay within like the basic same shape of the major scale that you're kind of around. Now, in between those notes, those held out notes, again, we can finger pick and give the song some accompaniment. This one you can't quite do as much fingerstyle around the song, but let me see if I can give it a shot. Right, and that's fingerstyle playing 101, basically shaping the melody around the major scale and then mixing in the accompaniment using your own judgment, using your own freestyle playing, and it's super fun. I know you can do it. Again, go watch those technique videos, watch the music theory video, it'll help you out a ton. Then come back to this video, watch this video again, and see if you can go take songs on your own, whether it's Coldplay, Ed Sheeran, the Beatles, whatever you want, and play the singer's melody. Use it just one note at a time, and then try and mix in that accompaniment around it. All right, I'll see you next time.